Now, Wildlife Wong and the Sumatran Rhino tells the real-life adventure stories about my friend, Dr. Wong Suti, or Wildlife Wong. Wong is a scientist, and he spent years living in the jungle in an island called Borneo, studying and surveying wild animals. One of those animals was a Sumatran rhino. Wong was on the front line of trying to fight against extinction for this amazing creature because he was trying to find out how many rhinos still existed in the wild so the government could learn how to save them. Wong still lives in the rainforest in Borneo, and he's still looking after animals. He now runs a very special rescue centre for sun bears called the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Centre. You'll get to meet Wong really soon. You're also going to meet a few other people who made this book come alive, because there's far more to publishing a book than just writing the story. Are you ready to meet Wildlife Wong? How are the bears going today?
Well, the bears are doing really well. Last night we got heavy rain and the forest is very wet this morning and the bears are very active. One thing for sure is that the earthworms activities also increase as well. And then the bears are busy digging.
Can you tell us why science is so important?
Well, I think science is important because, through science, what we're trying to do is to do research on the current or the actual situations that are happening, whether it is on wildlife, on the environments, on the rainforests and natures and so on. And then we can use this data that we collected to do a series of analysis. And then through that kind of analysis, we can know the situation, the current situation of that particular, say, for example, sun bears doing in the wild. And then at the same time, to doing scientific research, you also can manage to learn about the natural history of the animals or plant or whatever. And then you use that kind of scientific information to aid, to help decision makings. Yeah.
That's really important, isn't it? Because the more we know, the more we can help, or the more we can actually make really valid decisions. So if any children are watching and they think, I'd really love to help save species from extinction and be a scientist, what sort of advice would you give them?
Well, my advice would be like study hard, do well in school. I think so. For me, I studied wildlife biology. Actually, before I studied wildlife biology, I have a diploma on veterinary. So I've been working with animals. I'm learning a lot of things about animals' health and then treatments, during my veterinary courses. And then when I study wildlife biology, that is more towards the management, the biology of any wildlife, whether mammals, birds, and then it actually enhanced my professional knowledge. So one day, right now, I'm a wildlife biologist. And then, of course, right now, there's so many means of getting information, not only through school, but through internet, by visiting wild places, by visiting good zoos. At the same time, the love or your passion, your interest will also growing as well. Once you learn more about it, you start to care, and you learn more about it, you start to care, and then to a point you want to take action.
In Wildlife Wong and the Sumatran Rhino, we learn about your hobby of taxidermy. And that's going to be a new concept for many people watching. Can you tell us what taxidermy is and why you enjoy it so much?
Okay, so taxidermy is actually skinning an animal, preserving an animals into either a display specimens or a scientific specimens for future reference. In the process of taking care of animals, or sometimes I come across roadkill animals, roadkill wildlife, and it's such a waste or such a shame that we don't preserve, say for example, their skins, their bones. Taxidermy is an art. It's an art of preserving or making an animals look alive again. For me, I can give the animals a second chance to be alive again. And then a good taxidermy specimens is actually a good learning tool. It's not just for there. It's about, the specialties about the animals. And so that people will get connected, people will start to, spark the interest, and they will contribute towards the science.
Yeah, so it is an important part of the story we've told with Wildlife Wong and the Sumatran rhino. And since we met in 2012, Sumatran rhinos have gone extinct in the wild in Malaysia. But there are still rhinos in the wild in Indonesian Borneo. Do you think the stories that you and I are telling, your stories, can help raise awareness on endangered animals?
Yes, absolutely. Sumatran rhinoceros is a good example that, first of all this wildlife are precious. All these wildlife are fragile in terms of their populations, and then they live in rainforest. The amount of forest reflects on the amount of habitat that they have, or the places where they can survive. If we were to save or to ensure their survival, the very first thing that we need to do is to protect the forest. The forest give us clean air, clean water, and stable climates. So extinction is something that we all should avoid, because one extinction happen, it will never return back. It's such a sad case that the Sumatran rhinoceros in Malaysia have gone extinct in our country. And then hopefully the story that we share will spark interest, or will spark awareness of how important the protections or the conservations of wildlife or endangered wildlife species is, so that we can prevent extinction, so that we can protect the wildlife that is still remaining right now, when we still can save them. Don't wait until they gone extinct, or don't wait until the population go down to a few individuals, then we want to save them. That would be too late.
That's really important, considering that you're working at the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Centre and trying to make sure that sun bears don't go extinct. Some of the learning from the Sumatran rhinos can be linked to the sun bear conservation too, can't it? And when we first met, I was amazed with the work you're doing with the sun bears, and I asked you what I could do to help. Can you remember what you said to me?
Yeah, so absolutely. I tell you, do what you do best to help the sun bears, isn't it, Sarah?
Yes, it was. That's led us on
Yeah.
a bit of a long journey, hasn't it, Wong?
Yes, absolutely. You will think about, sun bear being the least known bear in the world, have very few people helping sun bears, and helping a species really require a lots of help from many, many people. Just think about, do what you do best. There is always a room for anybody with the strength that they have, with the skill that they have, to help the sun bears. And sun bear need you, believe me.
It's been a real honor for me to tell your stories. So thanks so much for letting me do that.
It has been a pleasure working with you as well, Sarah.